Okay. Now, just go ahead and pay attention to this, and then I'll send you something. I have a copy of this where I did the dry marker thing complete.
Oh.
And so there's a copy of it, and I'll post it to you. But I'll explain it to you now anyway. Okay, here's your land. Hey, I'm the artist. He's an artist too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so here's your aquifer. Now, an aquifer is in 3 layers. Clear water, clean, usable water. And when it's tight, this area up in here is solid with water. The middle section is suspended particulate. Now, you can't use that water. It has heavy metals and other thick chemical things in it. But you can't use that. And you don't want to disturb any of this and mix these 3 layers together. This area down here is where this is sludge. This is heavy metals, mercury, aluminum, barium, everything that the world or mankind could put in water, and it's heavier than water, and it sinks to the bottom, and it creates this goo. Now, if you touch this here, with your hand, you will die. It's in your water supply under the ground, but you will die. It's just simply, you will die.
So heavy and so high.
It's so cancer causing and deadly. You don't want to mess with the third layer here. So you have like creeks and streams. You have underground rivers and whatever else. So you put in your gas well and you drill down through this, and you get below this. Now, if you pump this out to put the water into the fracking, and this becomes an open, empty void, and this was the thing I was explaining, farmers and people in general need the land water to stay on the land. You have to do everything you can to keep the water on the land. If you pump this out, then all the underground water streams, the creeks, this part here should be solid with water, and this should be full. If it's not, gravity will make the water try to refill the dead space in the aquifer. Now, if you put a failed well casing through the aquifer, and it fractures. Now, how many thousands of pounds per square inch is a frack? Who cares? If the casing breaks, which it will break, and we've all, graphia, everybody's established that it's going to fail now or later, then what happens is this pressure blenderizes. It blows the heavy metals off the bottom. It blends the suspended particulate. The suspended particulate is what this is before it's that. It takes a long millions of years to settle down.
So it's less concentrated?
It's less concentrated than this. But this, you just want to suck your good water off the top, because it's the world is like a big centrifuge, and it's always putting the heavy junk in the bottom of the test tube. Now, down here, I don't know why it keeps turning gray, but down here, when you have your fracking, this is hard-packed earth. It's clay, and basically, according to what I've found, and I understand because I'm a ceramist and I deal with earth in all of its different forms, when you have that hard-packed clay and earth, and you put pressure on it from fracking, you get the hyperexpansion. In other words, they go down there and they say, oh, it's just down below everything, so you don't have to worry about it. And then all of a sudden, a frack. But what you don't realize is, at first, there's the explosion hyperexpands everything out from the frack, and then everything in it crumbles and falls into the bottom of an open sphere. Then, the pressure that's in the sphere, with the frack and now with the pressure of the gas, it's continuing to take, so here's your frack, blam. Then, it's shattering the hard-packed earth. And just like a boil or something on your skin, it tries to get out. It goes to the path of least resistance, and on the earth, the path of least resistance is up, out. And so, if you have your aquifer here, and you have your hyperexpansion here, and the junk is all caved in, and now you have this pocket of gas that they cannot control, because we now understand that 30% of the entire volume of gas in every fracked well, each individual frack, 30% is blown off so powerful it goes into the atmosphere. They can't control it. They don't like to admit they can't control it, but they can't, and that's why they're either releasing or flaring. Now, but they would want you to think about that, but they don't want you to think about that built-up pressure and how it fractures this clay. Because when it fractures the clay, the pressure seeps up and it blows just like this blenderized the aquifer. This is down here, and now it's blenderizing, it's blowing the cracks in the hard-packed earth, are blowing gas pressure into the aquifer, and it's taking this layer of heavy metal and it's blending it with the particulate, it's blending it with whatever water has rained, bled in. Okay. So,
and maybe radiation too.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. David Braun was, took me aside in Dimmock, and I was really surprised, and him and I had a conversation originally about the thing that's coming, Erwin, is the issue of the radioactive molecules blend and connect. The radioactive molecules blend and connect with the molecules in the gas, and it moves with it. They latch together and follow the gas out of the well, and you can't do anything to separate them back. You can't take one out of the other. So it's coming into your stove, you burn it, the gas burns off, but the molecules for the radioactive crap, it's still in your kitchen, it's still floating around. Not just radon. You know, people think, oh, it's just radon, everybody lives with radon. But it's not just radon, it's other stuff comes with it. So, but for me, the one of the biggest things I found, because we all know about the gas issues, we don't try to understand this point that I'm making. Nobody wants to talk about this because this is too big science-wise.
You mean as far as releasing and from the fractures, how it goes up?
How the frack blows the bottom out of the hard-packed earth, and busts the bottom of the aquifer, and then sprays the gas and crap and blenderizes the aquifer. Nobody's talking about blenderizing the aquifers. I'm the only person that I've ever heard of who's mentioning the fact that if you frack below an aquifer, the pressure doesn't go down to the center of the earth, it tries to go up. It can't go down. It's like a hand grenade blows up, you know? A balloon of water. Go through the table if you throw it down, it goes up. And so the pressure is going to go up no matter what you want. And then each gas well has what? How many? 6, 8, 10, 12 fracks involved with each
Well, each of that,
horizontal.
which each
You've got
horizontal.
2 or 3 on each one.
It could be even more. I've heard some
could-
now 30 and 20 and 30 fracks in a horizontal.
Yeah, and so now if my big thing that I found, which I think to people is the most important thing, is the fact that I now understand fully. What else does? I now understand fully where the earthquakes are coming from.
Not just from
If
the
you-
injection wells?
If you empty all of these aquifers out part way, this space is essentially empty, and you're now pumping from here stuff that tastes like gun cleaning oil. Now, in this area, one of the big things that's happened is since the fracking, most people who own private wells have had to have drilling companies come in and drill deeper wells. They can't get deep enough to get water. It goes and it's sucking like an empty straw.
So they're not
Their
getting
pumps.
the water.
They're not getting any water. So drilling company has to come in and drill down another 100 feet, another 200
And then
feet.
do they get water then?
Yeah, but it tastes like gun cleaning oil because you know where it's coming from. And it's crap that's been blenderized in the aquifer where this has been messed up, this aquifer concept. Now, farms have had trouble. I've heard them talk about it. And I went to a state agricultural farming meeting thing with the government.
Yeah.
In can't remember where it was, a couple of years ago, and the agriculture guy from the state of Pennsylvania, the discussion was about branding. They all agreed at the meeting to use water from fracked out wells. They weren't going to argue about that. They were just going to use the water to irrigate their crops if they have to, and any food coming from land where there's gas wells and the streams and creeks have been polluted, they don't care. Their choice was, with the agricultural department guy, was to use these Pennsylvania fresh produce stickers, and just all the farms that grow stuff would brand their stuff Pennsylvania blah blah stuff. Phony, it's phony, but it's just so that everybody go, oh, that's just like, that's the Pope, it's got the sticker on it, you can eat that, that's good stuff. Put a sticker on that apple, that banana, whatever it is you've got.
Right.
And I was just blown away that everybody at this meeting is sitting there agreeing that, if we got to just go ahead and at that time the issue was the livestock. The livestock is drinking out of the frack ponds here. They were, and that's what the discussion was about. They were just going to blow that off and say, well, we're just not going to talk about that, and we're going to sell our veal and our beef and our chicken and everything.
Sell
just
it,
blah, blah,
right.
blah. And of course, with the
And it's got to be contaminated, you would think.
with the game, I laugh at people. Here when
Do you have like a citizens group here in your county or this part of the county that is working to expose and document and
no, that they have nothing here. That's why I stopped listening to other people and I started digging up information about the Earth crust, what the dirt's made out of, how long it's been there, blah blah. It's like when you talk about oil, and everybody says, "Well, those were plants and dinosaurs from a long time ago, so whatever." Yeah, but millions of years on top of whatever that was, dirt built up over the subsequent ages and millenniums and whatever, and that stuff is buried. Now it's in a bubble and it's holding up your earth. So if you pump out something under the ground by taking all the oil that is
yeah, because they want to
100 times the size of New York City, you're going to have a hole down there,
Yeah.
and the pressure is going to get to it. It's going to be great. Maybe out west where those, like the Grand Canyon, those big things are. Maybe that was previous generations of people as stupid as we are pumping something else out from under the earth, and they're all dead. That's why they are not telling us about it. And now we're doing the same thing. And when people mention that oil, that was all just like a bunch of dinosaurs and a bunch of plants. Well, do you realize how much green, good earth vegetation and creatures that must have been here and died for some reason to create that much dead animals and vegetation, to create that much oil under the ground?
Must have been huge.
Who put those great big giant piles of millions and trillions of tons of dead animals and plants all in those spots all over the earth, so that eventually 1 million, 2 million, 3 million years later, there would be these great pockets of oil? Now, here's my conspiracy theory, okay, because I have one. My little weird theory is, suppose just for a minute, it's like the Twilight Zone, suppose just for a minute that hot core in the earth, through the process of convection, the convection stove, plating, suppose that the heat in the core of the earth that keeps the earth, doing what it's supposed to do, through convection is drawing the natural gas and the oil down in and feeding the core. Keeping it hot, keeping it viable, keeping it working, so that this planet doesn't become a dead planet, okay? Because we got our hot core, so we're cool. Right? That's what everybody says. We're cool, because we got a hot core. But what if we goof around and pump all the different kinds of fuel that is slowly feeding that core and keeping it hot?
Yeah,
what if you pump it all away, turn it into a gas or vapor, put it into the atmosphere, which the atmosphere has been completely compromised. And so finally, there's nothing left for the core to draw the heat down to, because sometimes, like a catalytic heater, you've probably seen them, they're propane, they heat the little asbestos disc with a wire on it, and maybe that's how the core uses the fuel. Slowly, economically, pulls down what it can, and it keeps the core hot. We're burning it up. We're pumping it out. We're throwing it away. And so if there is a conspiracy theory there, that's that would be my little conspiracy theory.
And that would mean what? Then
the core would cool off. This would become a dead planet, because it wouldn't, out this many millions of miles out into space, it wouldn't have anything to keep heating the ground to cause. The Earth is constantly in convection, and if you don't have that heat to create that condensation, to create that moisture, to create that weather, to create that rain, to feed the streams and the rivers and the oceans, and you don't have that convection anymore, and the planet can't work. It can't function. It can't it can't make the thing stay running. And so
that's good. That's good theory.
So anyway, that's where
possible.
That's where I am with all this crazy stuff that I've looked at and worked on.